If you're overwhelmed by your house right now, the last thing I'm going to tell you is to make homemaking harder. I have been in that place. A few years ago, I was so burnt out that I really had to rebuild the way that I took care of my home from the ground up. And at that point, I really needed everything to be easier. And I have learned that there's actually a time to make homemaking easy for yourself and a time to make it harder. So I just want to help you figure out which boat you're in right now so that you can be really successful in your homemaking. And it all starts with really knowing yourself. So if you haven't taken my free homemaking quiz, that is a really good place to start. I am intentionally making homemaking harder. And here's why. So I see homemaking as having three stages: design it, live it, and teach it. When I was in that boat of overwhelm, it was really easy for me to think that I needed to do these certain tasks in this certain way while including my children. I should feel a certain way while I do it. I had all these expectations about what successful homemaking really should look like, and it was those expectations that made it so overwhelming. It was really just more than I had the capacity for. And so at the very beginning, when we're kind of in this place of overwhelm, or if we're just, let's say we just quit our job, right? We're starting brand new, we're a new homemaker. The very first thing we have to do is to create a system that actually works. To quote James Clear, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So systems are just the foundation of keeping things running, kind of bare minimum. I like to think of systems as bare minimum maintenance, daily habits to cover the things like laundry, dishes, meals, and tidying. Like those to me are the four kind of pillars of just general household maintenance, keeping things running smoothly enough that you're not absolutely hurting because nobody has clean clothes or because there are no more dishes. If we can get those things running smoothly enough using systems, even if you're not a systems person, stick with me, because the bottom line is we are creatures of habit. We are going to continuously do the things that we are doing day after day. And so if we can get those systems in place through some thought, right? We need to put a little bit of thought into, okay, what is the bare minimum standard? What are really the needs of my household? Okay, how many children do I have? How much laundry do we produce? How many dirty clothes, right? And from there, coming up with morning and afternoon habits that just usually take a couple minutes, but keep things moving. And so we sit down, we think about it, come up with kind of a plan. And once we have done that, we actually now need to start doing it. Trying it out, really live it long enough to work out the kinks, see if it is working, see if it's going to be sustainable. We have to give it some time to really prove itself that it's working. We're talking weeks, maybe even months of experimenting, fine tuning, like, okay, actually, I don't have time to fold clothes every day. So I'm going to start the laundry in the morning, switch it, and just clean clothes are in the dryer. That's a win. That system is done. Or, it all gets emptied into this basket or something. Or everyone has their own baskets and we just sort right there. Bare minimum, work through like, yeah, this didn't work because of this, so let's tweak this. And as you really get those systems in place and you're living it, day after day, you have these certain things that you just do every day. Then we start to feel some relief from that overwhelm because we're succeeding. We're staying on top of things. We're doing the things that we really want to do and what the household requires. We're covering the basics of what is necessary. And then we have the option of introducing some friction on purpose. And that friction comes into play by teaching others this system that we have now figured out. We know the system that works, it's working, it's sustainable, it's predictable, and we introduce some friction by allowing other people to contribute to the system. So friction, of course, is something that's like working against the flow, right? It's making it a little bit harder. And you're wondering, Or somebody might wonder, why in the world would we do that, right? This is working so well. I have it covered. Why would we do that to ourselves? And it's the same reason we do a lot of things as moms, for the benefit of our children, right? We know that kids develop competence as they kind of take some ownership and they're given that meaningful responsibility of a certain thing. We want them to learn important life skills. We want them contributing. It will pay off in the long run, right? As they get old enough and practiced enough to really be true helpers. And yet, it absolutely requires a lot more from us. The teaching, the following through, the reminding, the whole thing takes way more energy than it would for us to just do the task ourselves. And that's why it's so crucial that we give ourselves permission to not force ourselves into that stage of homemaking. Remember the 3 stages? So teach it is the last one. We don't want to force ourselves into that unless we truly have the capacity. So if you're overwhelmed right now, just realize I'm not in the teach it phase right now. And I'm guessing, and I think it's a safe assumption, that you feel guilt about, and pressure, I should say, to really include your family and to follow through on that chart that you made a few months ago. And it's so important that everyone helps. And I want, to have this whole group effort, and it just can feel so big because it's all falling on you, and it's a lot of work to do the tasks, let alone to figure out the system with everyone else being involved. Eventually, we want to build a household of capable people, right? And there's an order to getting there. So, permission right now to just let that go, acknowledge that I'm in an overwhelmed season, and the best thing I can do right now is to tackle that overwhelm by boiling it down to the basics, putting everything on me, which sounds like maybe it's not helpful, but truly it's so much easier, and we all know that. Take on those tasks, stay on top of those tasks, and then get into the teaching phase. So, right now, I'm currently making it much harder for myself because for the whole past year, my daughter has been our laundry captain, which means I got to the amazing point where I barely thought about laundry anymore. I was not handling people's clothes. I just wasn't even thinking about it. She had it so down over the course of those months that she was doing that. And not only that, meanwhile, her brothers were rock stars at their chores too. I had a sous chef in my kitchen every day. My 9-year-old son loves being in the kitchen. He's so savvy by now. He's had a lot of practice. And so meals were so much quicker and easier, and just, it was awesome. My youngest son, was awesome at setting the table. Like, life was good, right? The system was working. Life was good. And so, naturally, of course, eventually, I basically decided to rock the boat. I felt the nudge that we feel as moms. It just kind of was on my heart. It's time to teach them some new skills. Right here, my daughter is 12 now. There's only 6 more years until she potentially is out of the house. Like, I have certain things I really want to work with her on, such as being in the kitchen. The kitchen is not her strong suit. And so it was just time. We were ending summer, coming on to the new school year, perfect time for kind of a fresh start, a new routine. And so now the things that were effortless for me become a whole lot harder. But I'm doing it intentionally because there is a time and a place, right? There's a time to make it harder for ourselves when we have the capacity. And so what's been on my heart the most is my daughter has to get in the kitchen. Like, I need to help her kind of break down that barrier. She thinks it's hard. She thinks it's all the negative things. Like, she does not have any positive feelings about the kitchen for some reason. It's just, naturally we're going to gravitate towards things. And so it was just, okay, it's time. So we do a shuffle, right? Changing things up. Okay, it's time for the boys to probably start having some more accountability for their own laundry. They tend to leave things so wadded up and skewed. My daughter, as the laundry captain, it makes her life miserable a little bit. So anyway, I had my reasons. I liked my reasons. And so, you put it in place. I know the systems that work. And so it's just a matter of shifting responsibilities, which is so critical. I can't stress that enough. I have laid the groundwork on my own, right? Establishing this is what works. So laundry, way before I handed it off to my daughter, every day I was a one load a day. I start it after breakfast. I do it at, like, I had certain cues in my day of like, okay, it's time to do this now. It's time to do this now. Takes maybe a grand total of 5 minutes, right? But it's just in my routine and it's in the schedule. And so I was shifting that to my daughter. So I helped her realize, like, this is the system. This is what we do. So in our house, we do fold clothes or we do this, right? I had the system mapped out. I was just giving her ownership. And that's what's so awesome about systems. Systems should be transferable, meaning it's not that you have to be the one to do it in this certain way. It's that this is the way the system works. Anyone could do it. And that's what I was able to do with my daughter. Handed it off. She took care of it. Of course, there's maybe a little tweaking, right? She goes to school, and so times for her, like it's on her time frame. But the expectation is there. The system is there. So now here we are shifting once again. Now the boys are coming into that role. So every day in our home, a load of laundry gets started. But now it's that on this day and this day, the boys are doing theirs. I have 2 boys, so they each have a day. So the one load a day is then, right? And then my daughter's is now, which now means I am going to be the one doing all the towels on this certain day. And I'm going to be the one to do mine and my husband's laundry on this other day. Same system, one load a day. We still do what we do. It's just a different person doing it. And now my daughter, same thing. Like I always have a helper in the afternoon in the kitchen. And so now that's going to be my daughter's role. And what's so awesome is once we are aware, we have the why, right? You always need the why. Why in the world would I do this to myself? Here things are going so smoothly. My life is so easy. Why? Well, we have our reasons. We want to teach our kids. Research backs that up, that it's a good thing for our kids to help. And I genuinely want that. So with that why, it can push me through the friction, the temporary friction of, oh, this is harder. This is not as easy as it was before. But long term, right? Long term makes it worth it. The biggest mistake though we make is pushing ourselves into that stage before we're actually ready, before we have the capacity to do what it takes. It does take teaching, like actually teaching. I'm now actually teaching my son, my youngest son, how to clean a toilet. He just hasn't really done that before. And so I have to teach him first. That teaching requires more time. It's going to take him more time than it would just take me. We're working on it together. And it's kind of this whole evolution. Any of us have been there, know. It's this evolution of the time it takes them to become skilled, to have learned this new skill. And then you have the coasting period of like, okay, this is easy. Like we have this under control. And then at some point in the future, we get to a new point where, okay, it's time to add some friction again. But if we can see it as an intentional choice instead of a requirement, instead of something we just have to do, well, I have to include my kids or I'm not a good mom. I'm totally slacking off if I don't have a whole chart and we're taking turns. And I used to put pressure on myself to rotate chores every single week. I would get some complaints like, oh, I'm tired of doing this certain job. And so I'd feel pressured to make adjustments all the time. And it just got to a point where it was so exhausting. And I just realized I can't totally forget that ultimately I'm allowed to make my life easier. If them helping right now is more than I can tolerate, I don't have to do that. Some of us can really let our kids help in the kitchen. And then I have times or certain recipes I just can't. Like, I'm a little too frazzled, it's too stressful. So I'll have my little sous chef help me make a snack earlier or something, right? Like, we don't have to do all those things. We get to invite our families in to share the load. We get to be the ones to decide how that's going to look and what we're going to expect of them. And the more we figure out what works for us, that's why I always say, don't mother like me. It's not about what other people are doing or what you read, even in a parenting book, is so important and crucial. What's so crucial is that you are enjoying motherhood enough to show up as the woman that you truly are trying to become. We are truly trying to become the best we can, right? We're here to be the mother to our children that they really deserve. And in order to be that person, we need to be out of that overwhelm, more into this, I have capacity for certain things, and it's about what feels good and authentic to yourself. So don't mother like me, just mother like you.